Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation on organizing your digital clutter. Again, my name is Tina Hall with Era Living, and I am your host for today on behalf of the Lakeshore Retirement Community. And as you can see from the slides, it is an absolutely beautiful community, and it's situated right on the shore of Lake Washington. And I do know that Lisa and her team would be delighted to talk with you and answer any questions you might have about the Lakeshore or retirement living in general. And she'd also be delighted to have you in to tour and just to visit and perhaps look at some apartments and take some time to consider if this might be something you're interested in for your future. And now I am very excited to introduce our speaker, Bridget Agabra, who has done a number of wonderful presentations for the Era Living communities over the course of this year and last, so I know they're great. Bridget provides compassionate training and service of all things digital for seniors and the tech uncomfortable, which would include me, through her local company, gentletech.com. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Bridget.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm going to, let's see, let's kind of spotlight me, maybe spotlight. There we go. And Tina, that dining room. Oh my gosh, the view out of that dining room. Wow.
It really, it's such a beautiful, beautiful, tranquil place to be.
I just imagine what a meal would feel like. It'd be like being on a cruise ship or something. I don't know.
And we have a pair of eagles that we are lucky enough to get to see there on one of the trees along the shoreline of the lake. So
wow, that is really neat. I know I've read about some of the habitat restoration they're doing there in that southern part of the lake there, and how it is bringing back all kinds of native creatures. That's really cool. So thanks for being here. Maxine, is that what, do you go by Maxine? Yeah, you're muted, but that's okay. You are the only face I could see, so you represent everybody. So you look all right. So don't fall asleep or anything, because you're everybody for me and everyone else. With a group this small, it's totally fine to be asking questions as we go along. This is a small enough group that you could put them in chat, or you could unmute yourself and ask if you like. We're a cozy group today. So let me get my software in the right place. Thank you so much for coming today. This is the first generation of people who has, in addition to objects that can be cluttered, that you do have digital clutter. There's digital photos and old documents and things that only exist in a digital space that you have to deal with. And I was telling Tina earlier, here's the thing, if your garage is full, you're going to open the door, look at it, and at some point you're going to have to clear it out. At some point you have to get the car in, or maybe somebody gets another car, or something happens. At some point you're going to have to clean out the garage. Well, with your digital stuff, it's very tempting to always just close the door and go, I don't want to do this. I'd rather take a walk, right? So thank you for being here and learning about the things you could do to take care of your digital clutter, taking it step by step. You want to make sure it's taken care of, because it's too easy to lose things. It's easy to lose them where you don't remember where they are, or maybe even your family members don't know that you have your photos in one place or another. So bravely we go on. Let's start with this slide. So first, I like to talk to people. If you've ever worked with a organizer in person, a physical object organizer, they try and get a sense of what you're looking at first before you start with them. And so I have the same sort of thing, which is, what is sort of the focus of your organizing of your digital objects, and what impact that has. So if you're organizing for yourself, it might be so stuff is easier to find and remember, and you can search for it. It can be if you volunteer with different organizations. If you do nonprofit volunteering, you wind up having oftentimes a lot of documents associated with that organization. And you might need to be able to hand that off to the next person for you in your position. So there's kind of ways that we might organize for ourselves. And if you're organizing for yourself, when you name something, you name a folder, you just need to make sure the name makes sense to you, right? And that it's organized enough for you. Like good enough for you is good enough. If your focus is on really organizing for people who may have to step in and use your computer, or family members, or a spouse or something, you're going to have a little different focus. You're going to be a little more about, I need to make sure nothing's missed or accidentally thrown away. Nobody's going to remember that I actually put some things over here or over there, or that this folder actually belongs to the arts group, not really me. So if you're organizing for other people, your naming is going to be different. It's going to be very specific, and you're going to need to organize more things, like broader. So if you're organizing for yourself, you might have a folder where you organize things. It might be called insurance, and you just dump all your insurance there. And that might include health insurance and auto insurance and home insurance. Or you might be somebody who organizes all your automotive things in automotive, right? And so you have your car, and under that is car insurance, and under that is repair records and other things like that, red car registration. So thinking about who you think is going to see it, who's going to use it most. If it's you, make it work for you. If it's someone else, be very, very, very specific. Right? Now let's step forward. And what is it like? What's it like? I think of having digital clutter as like, you have a big bin of socks in the middle of your room. And every time you want to find a pair of socks, you have to dig through the darn pile of socks and find, are there two matching stripy socks in here or whatever? So it's a waste of your time if every time you're looking for a document, you just have no idea where it is. But I like to explain to people, if you're somebody who doesn't really like technology very much, don't be overwhelmed. Don't be overwhelmed that it has to be perfect. Make it good enough for you. Make it match your comfort level. Everybody knows Marie Kondo at this point, the tidy magic of tidying up, right? She has everything so organized, it's perfect. And she empties out her purse every single day. And most people I know really don't need to be that organized. So maybe you're somebody who, like the drawer on the right, you've got the socks off the floor into a sock drawer. That's good enough. Or maybe you're somebody like on the left, you have your, solid colored dress socks on top and your, patterned dress socks on the bottom. So go ahead and do what's comfortable for you, and don't beat yourself up. Don't stress yourself out if it's not perfect. My t-shirt drawers do not look like Marie Kondo's t-shirt drawers, but they are better than when it was just my idea of t-shirt drawers. So what we're going to be looking at today, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be learning the lingo. We're going to be learning the language that's used when we talk about organizing digital stuff, because there's specific language. We're going to get to know our computer storage. I like to compare this to sort of putting away things in a big closet. So we're going to get to know our computer storage, which is like a closet with shelves. We're going to learn to make and name folders, which I feel like are bins, the equivalent of having a big closet with labeled shelves and bins. I'm going to show you how we get digital items to the right place. And then we're going to touch on cloud and external storage. You're welcome to take notes through this, but also remember that you will have links to this video. So you can always just focus on what you're doing now and just click on the link that Tina will send you in future and make notes. So starting with learning the lingo. I don't know who decided to name things files and folders. because they just sound the same. So in computer speak, files are a thing. A file is like a digital photo or a document or a spreadsheet. Now, in the real world, a file holds things. In the digital world, it doesn't hold things. The file is a thing, all right? The word that describes the holder is a folder. Oh, that's a great, you know what? The folder is a holder. I have never come across those words before. So here we go. The folder is a holder and the file is a thing. So we're going to put files into folders. That's how we organize like a sock into the sock drawer. The file doesn't look like a sock, of course. A file looks like things on the left, that list on the left. Rainbowsocks.jpg means that's a picture. That's a file, that's a picture. The JPEG tells me that's a picture. The next one, the holiday list, is a docx. That tells me it's a document, a Word document. Show entries XLS tells me that's an Excel spreadsheet. And the procedure prep.pdf is a PDF file, a medical preparation PDF file. So each of those things is an individual thing, just like an individual pair of socks. So each of these files is an individual picture or document. There might be lots of pages to that holiday list, but it's one document. And an example of where it goes on a Windows computer is it goes into folders. And these folders are on your computer in a place we're going to look at. Your computer comes with folders built in. Usually it comes with something called pictures and documents and music. There's some that are basic there, but you can put in as many as you like, and you can call them whatever you like. And you can put folders inside of folders. And like the example I gave you of insurance, you could have a folder called insurance, and under it you have a subfolder that says health insurance, and then one that says car insurance, and one that says rental insurance, right? You can have a folder that holds things, and you can have other folders inside those to hold smaller things. You can organize all the way down. If you're somebody who likes that kind of structure and organizing, ooh, it's real fun. And if you're not, it's still efficient, not fun. So this is what it would look like on a Windows machine. And we're going to look on our Windows machine later. It's very similar on a Mac, slightly different, but very similar. Their folders are blue in color, and the way you see them is a little different. I'll talk to you about where you go to see them, but you could see documents and downloads and desktop. Again, all of these things start with D. I don't know why they make it so tough for people, but so on a PC, you would take these items and put them into folders that look something like this. And on a Mac, you would take these and put them here. And we'll talk about where they come from, in addition to where they're going to. So files and folders, files and folders. Folders are holders. More lingo, more description. A hard drive storage is storage. I think of it as like a big closet on your machine, physically on your machine, mostly physically on your machine. You pick up your Mac laptop or you pick up your big PC box from under your desk, and it's got hard drive storage in it. It's like a big closet and it's holding things. Those are local, and that's great. Lots of things are stored locally. Good place for them to be. But if that machine breaks, or if there's a flood or a fire and that machine breaks, if the things aren't somewhere else, they're gone forever. So we want to talk also about not just hard drive storage, which is something you could pick up with your hands, but having a second place for your storage, having two places that might be in the cloud. it might be something like Google Drive or iCloud or OneDrive or Dropbox or all of those names. Or it could be an external hard drive. It could be another little box that you back your things onto, a physical one. But then you have to make sure that that physical backup box, an external hard drive, it's a hard drive like in your computer, but it's just portable. You can take it around. It's got to be kept somewhere where if there's a fire or a flood or something, they're not both going to get swept away. So if you do keep your things on a second physical drive, which many people do, make sure that physical drive, I mean, just think about how you could keep it safe from whatever dangers your main computer has. Because since they're physical, if they get stolen, flooded, burnt, the data is gone. Which isn't the case if there's cloud storage. If you've got it also sitting on somebody else's computer somewhere else, right? There's this saying that data needs to be in two places to exist. If it's in one place, it effectively doesn't exist, because if your hard drive breaks or fails, it's gone. So hard drive storage and cloud or external storage. Okay? Hard drive is your machine. Cloud and external storage are not your physical machine that you can that you're typing on. So hard drive storage looks like on a PC. If you look on the left, I know it's a little bit blurry, but this PC, this is Windows 10. You could tell because it has that silly thing called 3D objects that no one except programmers use, and now it's not there anymore. Windows 11, they got rid of it. But hard drive storage is organized so this PC means it's on that physical machine. Things in the desktop, documents, downloads, music, pictures, videos. Those are the basic categories. On the right-hand side, you'll see up at the top, OneDrive Personal. And that's mine, and there's a copy of my things in OneDrive Personal. So I've got things locally, I've got things in OneDrive Personal. Mac has similar, Mac has things, I think it says this Mac, or it has the name of your computer. And then there's also iCloud storage, and also Time Machine storage if you have a physical box that you back up to. So the lingo of hard drive and cloud external, that's that language. So oftentimes I work with people who have machines who look like this, and I put everything on the desktop. What's wrong with that? Right? Well, you know, if it works for you, nothing's wrong with it. But this is a whole lot like the computer version of those socks dumped on the floor. This is.
Goodness, were you just waiting for me to call you?
Let's help Victoria. Let's mute Victoria. Okay. Sorry about that, Victoria. I'm sure you wouldn't want us listening in on your call. So if you put everything on your desktop, it is your choice. You know, you could keep things everywhere in the garage and hunt through every time to find a screwdriver, or the screwdrivers could be in roughly the screwdriver area. I find this is visually distracting. It's hard to find. Every time you go to look for something, you're going to have to be hunting around looking for it and manually searching for it. So this is really not very efficient. And it's, I don't know, I think there's nothing wrong with having a bunch of things on your desktop, but the things you want to keep, photos, documents, that stuff should be in bins on the shelves. That shouldn't be in the middle of the floor, so to speak, of your computer. And the busy background doesn't help. I would not be able to look at this every day. Okay. So if this works for you, that's great. You probably aren't here. If this works for you, you probably aren't here. And I have plenty of things on my desktop, but they're shortcuts to programs. They're not things I'm saving. They're not my socks that I'm saving. So let's take a minute. How do we organize? So now I'm going to give you steps and tools. I can't tell you what to do with your specific computer or your specific hard drive or your specific photos on thumb drives, but I will give you the steps of what you need to do or have somebody do, and you can begin thinking about that and take the steps you would like. Right? But it's a lot like I can read a book about organizing my garage. It doesn't actually make my garage organized, nor does reading books about healthy eating make me eat healthy. It just gives me the information I still need to do it. So this will be for you to do your work. So let's look at this. So these steps, none of these steps, unlike Marie Kondo, I doubt that any of these steps is going to spark joy. None of these things it doesn't spark joy for anyone to keep, these old legal documents, but it's just something you need to do as a responsible adult. So the first step would be always, before you do anything else, figure out the destination of where something is going to go. And we'll talk a little bit more later, but you want to figure out, are your photos going to be kept on your machine, in a cloud storage? Where are your legal documents going to go, the digital ones? Figure out where in general you want to keep your stuff. The real world equivalent was like, does this go in the junk drawer? Does this go in the pantry? Or does this go in the garage? Knowing where stuff is going to go first is helpful. Then we need to get that place ready. Before we move anything around, we want to get the place ready to accept our things. So we looked at those folders earlier. You can see the little sock, my little sock file. Excuse me. Sorry about that. The sock going into its folder, the file going into the holder. So step 2 would be make new folders or subfolders if you need to. Figure out what shelf this stuff is going to go on. Figure out what bin it's going to go in. Name the folder something that makes sense to you. Then we're going to move the files in, that 4th step. And as much as possible, we're going to try and make it easy to save future items to that place. So oftentimes you have to do this once manually. You see the little rolling cart. One time you have to go in and figure out anything where you move. You go, okay, this box goes in the kitchen and this one goes in the garage, right? But as much as possible, you want to set it up so that when you take pictures on your phone, they just wind up invisibly going to where you want them to be. You don't have to ever deal with them again. That your documents automatically are being saved where you want them to be. So you want to minimize the amount of work you have to do. One time you're going to have to move everything around, but ongoing you want it to be as easy as possible for yourself. At least I want it to be as easy as possible for you. Okay. So how do we find these places, these files and folders? Just before our live demo, I'm going to show you that we're looking for the closet. We're looking for the closet that's holding our stuff. This closet is not my closet nor my bedroom, just so you know, in case. If you're on a PC computer, this symbol, this little manila folder that looks like it's in a little metal holder, it's usually on the bottom of your screen. That's called File Explorer, and that opens the door to the closet where all your stuff is. That is the door that opens up the closet. If you're on a Mac, it's a lot cuter. Mac, it's called Finder, and it's a smiley face. And smiley face is always wanting to help you find things and organize things. So those are the symbols that you would look for. This is in a PC, and this is in a Mac. My demonstration right now is going to be on a PC, but if you're familiar with a Mac, you're going to be able to put this together on that. So let me share at this moment my closet. And my closet is not as clean, is not as empty as you think it would be. So here's my closet, and I will share with you what you're seeing. So on the left is the closet. These are the drawers in the closet. This PC, where it says this PC right here, and then click and open the little arrow. This PC is the things that are on the local drive. These are on my machine. And here are the Microsoft folders that are already here, desktop and documents and downloads and things, right? And here are some other hard drives on my computer, but pretty much these are the areas I'm going to be dealing with. Most people don't need to do much more than using these as their destination. You'll see I also have 1, 2, 3, 4 different cloud storage options for different pieces of my life. But this is OneDrive Personal. This is where my this is where the bulk of my things are kept, also in the cloud. So here they are on the computer, and they're here on the cloud, and this is a little way to peek in there. So this is what I wanted to do, was share, this desktop. So these things, all these little things here are little things that are on my computer. If you were to look at the top of my computer, you would see all these little icons. It doesn't look exactly like that messy desktop, but it's pretty full. And I leave it that way partly on purpose because I have to do this demonstration not infrequently. At least that's what I like to say. So if I'm looking at my computer, looking this PC, this is where I'm going to start my tidying up. And I'm going to say, I'm going to start tidying up my desktop. So here's my desktop. Here is a tiny version of all the stuff that's sitting on my desktop. And I'm going to do today. Here's some things I can move. I would like these things to be moved into my destination is in my documents, and it's called a demonstration folder. This is a demonstration folder that I'm going to show you how I would take this item from my desktop. I'm going to hold on to it, and I'm going to drag it, move it. You can see the words change to move to a demonstration folder. Boop. Now the little icon disappeared from my desktop. It's not in this list anymore. And now it is here, draft. So what I did was basically I walked from the room called desktop. I picked up the folder. I picked up the file. I walked over to this room called documents. I opened the bin called demonstration folder and I put it in. There's another way to do it. You don't have to click and drag. I highlighted this next one. It's called extra slide. This is a PowerPoint file, and I don't need it sitting on my desktop. I can click it. I can click move to, and I'm going to click choose a location. I'm going to point my way over to the document room, and there's the demonstration folder. And I'm going to say move it. And you'll see the slide moved away from my desktop. And now it's here in the demonstration folder. So you can think of this as happening in all kinds of ways, right? If you plug a flash drive into your computer, it's going to show up in your list, in your closet here, as being part of your computer. And you can move something from it in the same way over to a folder. Right? You can move things from your desktop into your documents. You can move them from, here's a place that clutter builds up all the time, digital clutter, and people don't even see it, right? Nobody sees it. If you click on your downloads, whether you're on a Mac or PC, so many people have tons of things in downloads. This happens a lot, and people wind up, they download something from the internet, or they get something from an email, and they go, I downloaded it and I have no idea where it went. I know that I downloaded that thing and I don't know where it went. Usually you can find it in your downloads. You can grab it and you can move it into, you can grab it and move it into, walk down the hallway into your documents and put it in the folder you want. So if you have a folder called interesting items from the newspaper, or you have a nonprofit group you belong to, or you have a residential newsletter, that residential newsletter that you get every month, if you download it and it's like, I never see it because I don't know where it goes, look in your downloads and it's probably there. There's almost always more in downloads than people suspect. You could take it from there and move it away to some place that makes sense to you, your destination. Let's see. So in general, what we're doing here is taking the messy areas, which might be downloads, desktops. If I plug in, let's see what happens. Let's see if the entire computer blows if I plug this in. There, I just plugged in that funny little drive that had nothing on it. There it is right here, this Coco. That little flash drive I had, I plugged it into my computer, and now it shows up here on the computer. And there's nothing on it. But if there were pictures or things, I could take them off and move them onto my computer. That's so funny. All right. I don't encourage using these. These are, unless you have the brand new ones, they're a little bit easy to break. You know, they're not as sturdy. They're just really meant to be temporary storage. And more than that, even if you get the really good modern ones, they're so easy to lose. They're so easy to get. You could have the most important stuff on it and it winds up in a drawer, and then your family members don't know that that's what's on here, you know, and it can get lost very easily. So our concepts were going from the messy places, putting them into the organized places, right? I mean, it's the digital version of go pick up your room right now, you know, go pick your things and put them in the drawers. On a Mac, you can see it's very similar, not exactly as similar. The way that the closet shelves are organized is a little different in a Mac, but it's still called desktop, documents, and downloads. The descriptions on the right side and how you move things around is ever so slightly different, not a lot different. But if you're used to using a Mac in this area, you'll look at sort of at the top of this area and be able to see to move and save different places. Very similar concept. Let's talk about moving photos from the phone, because this is something that I hear about a lot. And there are some steps to take before we move something on a phone. And I'll pop in my face for a minute. So this is very important. Know where your photos are going from your phone right now. I ask so many people who say, I want my phone photos to be whatever. And I said, where are they going right now? People say, I don't know. I don't know. Find out if you're on an Android phone, your photos might be being saved to, I think, Samsung. All Androids are different. So they might be being saved to, I think, Samsung Gallery maybe is Samsung something with photo saving. Might be going to Google Photos. If you're on an iPhone, they might be going to iCloud. But the exciting thing is your photos can go anywhere you want. I have an iPhone, which is made by Apple. So my photos go to iCloud. They also go to OneDrive. Remember that little OneDrive you saw in my list before? My photos all on their own just go there too. That's a Microsoft world. So I don't have to think about my photos on my phone ever being lost. It would be really awful to lose this phone, but if I lost this phone, the photos are still taken care of. So think about where your photos are right now and kind of if it's not broke, don't fix it thing. If they're already going to iCloud, maybe that's a good place to have them go. Or if they're already going to Google Photos, or if they're going, all of the storage stuff is now kind of mix and match in a way that it wasn't even 10 years ago. Like I said, my photos go to iCloud and OneDrive. You can have, and I can get those both from my PC, even though everything is based from the phone, I could see it all on my computer. I could see it all from all of my computers. So figure out where your photos are now, and the path of least resistance is just make sure that they all go there in the future. But sometimes people have them just on their phone, and you want to think about where, if they're not going somewhere else right now, think about what's convenient. Are you a mostly Apple person? Then iCloud is pretty convenient. If you're mostly a Google kind of person, then that's convenient. And you can download the apps that belong to the convenient ones, and your phone can be set up to do that automatically. Right? And then you don't have to think about it. And people really think that you need to use a cord to get your photos onto your computer or to somewhere else. And it's very exciting. Very rarely do you have to do that. All the phones now, our phones use cloud for everything, right? So if your photos are already being saved to iCloud, they're already there. You don't need a wire to do that. If you want to save them to Google Photos or something, you don't need a physical cord to move them over if you're in any kind of cloud account. If your photos are only on your phone, they're not being saved anywhere else. They're not part of the Google, the Samsung world, the Google Android world, or iCloud world. If they're not part of those worlds, which your phone companies really want you to be part of those worlds. They really want to push you come into our world. Let us embrace you. Have all of your things with us, right? They all really encourage you to do that. But if you don't, and if things are only on your phone, you could use a cable, or you could just turn on one of those services, and in the course of a few hours, your photos will be in a cloud storage that you could use from anywhere. So in general, you don't need the cable anymore. Also, if you have other kinds of devices, if you have other things, like I had that little flash drive, if you have other places where your photos and documents are, and maybe, a lot of computers now, they don't have those little holes where you would put in those little camera chips. If you had a camera before cameras just went onto our phones, they were like these little tiny squares of photo storage. And lots of times the computers don't have those anymore. Sometimes, they don't have DVD players anymore. You could buy a little reader, a little thing that looks like this, and it plugs into your computer, and then you can get all those photos off of those little chips and those little, I don't have any because I didn't have that kind of camera, but they look like little squares. They look ridiculous. They look like a thumbnail, a literal thumbnail. And they would have, your photos would be stored on them. And those things get lost at the drop of a hat. So you can buy inexpensively these little readers, plug that little reader into your computer, put in your little chip, and then you'll see it on that list. Just like when I plugged in this, it'll just show up, and you could pull and drag your stuff out of there. Okay? I can't, each person's situation is different. So these are broad solutions, but all of these tools will work for you, all these steps. So how do I do this with everything? How do I do it with everything? Annie Lamott has this saying, you just do it bird by bird. If you have to write a report about all the birds in the world, you just start one bird at a time. You take one little flash drive, or you take an hour and look in your computer at your downloads and you go, today, I'm just going to deal with downloads. Today, I'm just going to deal with the desktop. Or today, I'm just going to try and put all the legal documents in order. Like, if you're somebody who doesn't like technology, this gets boring and frustrating really fast. So have small, achievable goals, right? So I'll take care of this today. I'll take care of my downloads today. Okay. We're preparing the destination. We're taking everything from maybe old CDs and flash drives and camera chips. We're moving them, or your desktop, your downloads folder. You're moving it into the correct folder or subfolder. As much as possible, you're trying to make it so that future items just go directly to those folders. And then if you're comfortable with it, you want to save it to another hard drive somewhere not on your computer, or a backup system. Like, there's many different backup systems, or a cloud account. You want to think about the fact that your computer can break or get burnt up or stolen or flooded. So once you've got everything nicely organized, unlike your garage, you could just save a copy of everything somewhere and it's safe. So when we talk about those saving options, one of them is a physical external drive. And that is, do I have mine handy? Let's see. I don't have mine handy, but they just look like a little computery sort of box. Looks like a little computery sort of box, like that, right? That could be an external hard drive. It's a physical box and it's got a copy of what's on your computer. You could choose to do one of the big ones that's related more to your software. iCloud, if you're a Mac Apple user, is built right in. OneDrive is built in for PC users. Google Drive can be used on everything. It's great if you're a Gmail user. Other ones include, Dropbox, Box, things like that. And then there's backup software like Carbonite that, in addition to saving those things, kind of backs up other computer settings. External, if you buy an external box like this little black box here, you're going to be paying for this box, and then you don't have to pay anymore. If you have a lot of pictures or a lot of documents, and I mean, pictures do wind up taking about a bunch of space. iCloud and Google Drive and OneDrive all wind up being, a little bit for free, and then a little taste. We'll give you a little free sample, and then they're usually around $2 a month. If you have Office 365, you already have tons of storage. But if you were to buy extra storage, it's usually maybe $2 a month. It's not too much for ongoing big storage. So $20, $25 a year. If you're using backup software like Carbonite, it can be, it's fine. It's nice and secure. It's not going to be really easy for you to jump in and out of and get to stuff in the same way that iCloud, OneDrive, Google Drive, Dropbox. Those are really easy to jump in and out of stuff, and also to share with family members that are elsewhere. So now you have a whole bunch of tools that you can start, and my emotional support that you start small and move things in. And now if we could open it up for questions about any of this, I'd be happy to answer your questions. And especially, now let me know if there were things that you didn't understand, because this is all about just being open about what tech, what tech support you need. So let's get into tech support. If you have, where is your messy computer area? Is it the desktop? Is it these things? Tina, what is it for you?
Well, for me, I know that for the longest time, my biggest mess was in my downloads. And I had exactly that problem where I know I downloaded this. Where did it go? you know, and I had been using a computer for years and years and years, and you'd think I would have known that, but I've only recently learned, oh, if I can't find something, go to my downloads, it's probably there. And then I can put it where it actually belongs. Looks like we've got someone with a raised hand. If you want to go ahead and unmute yourself.
Let's see.
There you
While
go.
you're doing that, Tina, I can say, I think of the downloads file as like when you come in the door and you just throw your like, if you just went shopping and bought clothes and you came in and you throw your stuff on the table next to your front door, and then you never look at it again, and you're like, where? I know I bought a red shirt. Well, you know what? It's still sitting on the table by the front door. You have to bring it into the bedroom and take it in the closet.
Yeah.
Okay, Vaccine.
You mentioned that it's easier to use Google Drive if you have Gmail. My major email address is MSN.
Mhm.
Can I still use Google Drive with MSN?
Oh, sure. So, so it doesn't actually have anything to do with your email. It's just that if you have Gmail already, and I'll pop it up, it's just so easy. You don't even have to install it. If you're using Chrome on your computer, and give me 1 minute, like it's already there. I'll just show you. So it's just so easy. You don't even have to install anything. So it's not really related so much to what email you use. So let's say you're somebody who has Gmail or uses Chrome. And here's your page. You could just click on this little, I call it the box of dots of all the related Google things, whether or not you use their Gmail. It's all the Google things that you can use. And there's Google Drive, and you can save things there. And I don't even need to install anything on my, I'm like, okay, yes, these are not client documents. I didn't even need to install anything or do anything. It's just so easy for people. So if you want to use Google Drive, are you on a Mac or a PC computer?
PC.
PC. Do you use Chrome at all on your computer to search, or do you use Edge?
I use Google and
Okay. Okay, so if you use Google, you might already have Chrome. You might already have some kind of account with Chrome. And if you do, you just can save things right here.
so when my computer opens up, it says sign into Google, and I do not sign into Google. Should I do that in order to be able to use the?
Well, there's some reason that your computer, and it's always, I can't really diagnose what the situation is with your computer, but there is some reason that your computer is opening to that and wants you to log in. So at some point in the past, Chrome, something was set up to use that in an important way. So do you save your documents and photos and things right now on your computer?
The documents I do on the computer. For my photos, they automatically go to the computer.
Okay. You might, do you know if you have OneDrive? Do you know if you have an Office account or Office 365?
I do have a 365.
Well, you may find that that OneDrive is already backing up everything in your, I mean, if I would say use that over Google, because if you've got Office 365, then you've already got like a terabyte of free storage, a huge amount of free storage. You've got a free closet from Microsoft. So you'd have to make sure the settings on your computer were such that it knows to save these things also in the cloud. But what you could do to check is go to OneDrive.com, and I think it transfers over to onedrive.live.com. So you're actually logging into Microsoft using your Microsoft password, which you've got somewhere if you've got a 365, and then you could see what it's keeping in the cloud for you. So it may already be set up for you.
Okay.
They
So
like to do that by default. And if not, it's just a couple little tweaks that you can, look up. How do I get OneDrive to sync my desktop documents, photos, music,
so you're telling
that
me
would be the easiest, I would say.
that I need to see what I have in 365 and OneDrive.
See what it's already doing.
Okay.
You might be lucky, and if you log in on this website and put in your credentials and you go, Microsoft, what are you saving for me? Maybe you'll hit the jackpot and they're already saving everything, and you just go, that's lovely. I don't have to worry about it.
Thank you.
Sure. And that's a great example of how, just a lot of times we just don't know where the stuff is going or if it's already being handled. Is anybody else? Cheryl, Robert, Sashi, Judy, so up for questions. Linda.
No.
Okay.
Wow.
I love talking about this. So.
I found this very helpful. There's a lot of these things that I've already started doing, but there are some of your tips that are a little bit easier to do than what I've been doing. So I'm going to switch.
And, bird by bird, one little bit. It doesn't have to be big and overwhelming. It's not like you have to clear the garage enough so that a car can pull in. You just have to be, at least one set of socks off the floor and into a drawer, a little bit. And you'll be able to watch this video and be able to see those steps again.
Okay. Well, if nobody has any questions, I think we can let everybody go early. Wait, let's see if we can we get help later. If we have a question, if you have a question that's specific to this, if you want to go ahead and email those to me, I can forward those to Bridget. If it's a very complex question or it drills into something beyond what we've covered in the topic of this webinar, it's probably a good idea to reach out to Bridget directly and maybe schedule a consultation with her. But otherwise, you can send questions that occur to you to tina.hall@eraliving.com. And that's TINA.HALL@ERALiving.com. And I'll forward those to Bridget.
Bridget, thank you so much. I'm still confused on some things, but you've given me a little bit of courage to expand my knowledge.
Sure.
I don't feel quite so intimidated.
Yeah, well, and feel free if there was something in particular we have 3 minutes.
And again, everyone, we will be sending out the link so that you can rewatch this video, and that way, and then you can fast forward to the part that maybe was confusing and just be able to listen to that bit. So you'll all get that within the next few days.
Thank you for that as well. It will be very helpful.
Excellent.
Sure.
All right, everyone.
Wait, Maxine, was that a new hand or?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to say thank you so much, even though I'm not very consistent with the kinds of things I do. So this is helping me to organize and to be really very specific. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thanks,
right.
Tina, for bringing us all together today.
Well, thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Looks like it's not too bad out there. Not too hot, not too cold. Enjoy it while you can, right?
Right.
All right, everyone. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye, all.
Bye.